Hello and welcome back to another solo episode of the Red, the White, and the Blues podcast. I'm Daniel, and I'm here by myself once again. As my partner, the stud muffin himself, Jason is gallivanting around Italy at this point in time. Yeah, here we are again. I was hoping I didn't have to show up in a black hoodie with a black beanie and be depressed on this episode again. Like, what a time for Jason to leave me here, just in a state of depression this whole time. Mind blown. 2-2 draw with Bournemouth today. A match that we desperately needed the 3 points in. So we could keep somewhat of pace with the teams in front of us. You had a chance to gain some points back on Villa today with their absolute thrashing that Arsenal gave them. So you had it. You had it there. And what is the freaking undoing of this team? What has been the undoing of this team all year? It's not necessarily our tactics. It's not necessarily the players. Well, it has something to do with the players on the pitch. The Achilles heel of this team is apparently long freaking throw-ins. Like, how are we halfway through the freaking season and can't defend a long throw-in? Like, it's just mind-boggling to me. Like, I played sports growing up. Like, if we sucked at something, we went to practice and we worked on that. We worked on it until we didn't suck anymore. And yet, here we are, halfway through the season, and apparently, the Chelsea coaches don't know how to practice defending long throw-ins. It's just, at this point, it's so infuriating because it's something that we shouldn't have to worry about every single match. But every single match, if somebody gets a throw in, down on our end in the final third, we've got to sit there and clutch our pearls and pray to God that the ball doesn't end up in the back of the net because we don't know how to defend it. We are incapable of defending them, apparently. It is, I just don't understand how we can't mark our men, how we lose our markers, how people just sit there with their thumbs up their asses, Delop and Garnacho, and don't do anything and just let players run by them. Like, you switch off at the worst times ever. You can't switch off on a long throw-in. Like, especially now that teams know that we are utterly shit at defending them. It is utterly ridiculous at this point in time. And that's the frustrating thing. We're halfway through the season. And there's been no improvement on long throw-in defending. So what are we doing during practice? Do we even practice this? Does Maresca, as our set piece coach, I'm assuming would be the one that would be in charge of this? Do they have any strategy for defending long throw-ins? Has it even been mentioned? Has Maresca and all the tape that he supposedly watches, has the team watched any tape on it? Because it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like that they've done a damn thing about it this entire year. And that is the most frustrating thing. Is I can understand if we looked better at defending these set pieces, if we looked better at the way we set up, if we didn't have to clutch our pearls every time, but we don't. It's just this. It's the same shit. It's the same shit, a different day, and that is the story of this season. That is the story since Clear Lake has taken over. It is the same shit, just a different day. And I don't even know, like, what we're doing at this point. Like, as fans, we're just sitting here baffled. Like, this isn't the same club that when Abramovich was here. I don't care what garbage Clear Lake spews out their mouths. It's not the same club. It's clearly different. Things have changed. We try to adapt to this change. We try to adapt to this new philosophy of buying players and this, trust the process of buying the youth and trusting in these youth. And it's just getting to the point now where I feel like fans are starting to lose hope. Like, we're starting to lose patience. We're starting to lose, like, the joy that comes with supporting Chelsea Football Club, the joy that we got from supporting this team week in and week out is just fading, because we have nothing to be happy about. The only positive on that pitch today was Esteval. That was the only thing positive. He was the only person that looked like he could try. The only person that looked like he was trying on the pitch today was Esteval. That's it. He was the only one. Everybody else on that pitch looked like they could be somewhere else on a freaking beach in Montego Bay, in Cancun, in St. Lucia. Somewhere is where they would rather be than on that pitch playing football today. Not one of them gave one goddamn care to be there. They didn't give a damn. And that is the frustrating thing about this. Is an 18-year-old is the one that is trying to inspire a team. This is very much like 2 years ago when Cole Palmer literally dragged Poch and the rest of the team to finish in the top 5. To finish in the conference, or top 6, I guess, technically, yeah. Top 6. To finish in the conference league position. Palmer literally drug that team, despite Poch, despite the play around him. Palmer drug us to the finish line that year. So, at this point, what do we have? Esteval is trying to drag this team. He's not getting any help. Palmer tries, but people figured Palmer out now. They just man-mark the hell out of him. They chop him down. They just take him out the game. And so you have to have other players step up. And nobody's doing it except for a freaking 18-year-old. Is the only one that seems to care on the pitch. And the only thing I've heard for the past 2 months is how we have to protect this 18-year-old, how we shouldn't be playing Esteval every match. I'm sorry. We're past that point. When he's the best damn player on the pitch, when he's the only one that gives a shit, he deserves to start every match. He deserves to be out there. He deserves to be the first name on the team sheet every match. Ahead of Caicedo, ahead of Reece James, ahead of all those players, because he's the only one that is actually giving a shit and actually trying. Caicedo gets a yellow card in the first 4 minutes of the match. Out for Man City now. Was it a yellow? I don't think so. I think it was way too early to give a yellow. It didn't even look like a yellow card offense in the slightest. So there's that shitty reffing by the Premier League again, whatever. We had to freaking pray to the VAR gods today to give us a freaking penalty just so we could tie the match. I mean, we can't score from open play anymore. It's just about impossible. And like I've said it before, fire Maresca if you want to. I don't care. I'm not the biggest Maresca fan. I'm not going to sit here and defend Maresca and defend his tactics and defend his subbing and defend anything that Maresca does. I'm just not going to do it. But fire Maresca isn't the answer to this. So and that's the frustrating thing, because there's nothing we can do to change the situation. There's nothing that we can do to make this situation better as fans. We're just sort of being drugged and strung along. We're a ship without a rudder. We're just being tossed about in the shitstorm that is the Chelsea Football Club right now. And it's heartbreaking for 99% of us, because more so for some people that have followed this club, that have grown up since they were kids, that this is their family's club. I'm just an American who happened to latch on to Chelsea when we got a Russian billionaire that sports washed his money through our club. And I fell in love with Drogba. And I fell in love with Lampard. I fell in love with Terry. I fell in love with Ashley Cole. I fell in love with Michael Essien and John Obi Mikel, like Raul Morales, Davi Luiz, Peter Cech. I fell in love with these players. And it now to see this club where it is today is just heartbreaking, because it's not who Roman built us to be. It's not who Chelsea's ever been. And it's just so frustrating. And I don't have Jason here to bounce all this stuff off of, or to have a dialogue with somebody. And I think that just compounds my anxiety and my frustration over all of this as well, because I don't like doing these things by myself. I wouldn't do this shit if I didn't have him, if he wasn't, my partner in crime in all of this. But I'm here, and it's just, this club is the most frustrating thing in the world right now. And it's not like, and I really do feel like we're at the point of the only hope we have. And there was rumors of this, I want to say like a year and a half ago. I know we did a special episode on that, on this a while back. I wrote a blog on it. I'm pretty sure it was like about a year and a half ago. I'm not sure when it was, but it was the whole civil war brewing within Chelsea with Bowley and Igbali. And honestly, the only hope that we have right now is that Bowley buys out Igbali and Clear Lake. That's literally the last hope we're down to as Chelsea fans for the next 7 to 10 years, until Clear Lake decides to cash in on us. And who knows if they will. That's just when they can legally sell the club in 7 years. That's why I say 7 and 10, because who knows? It might be longer. We're stuck in this purgatory. But that's the only hope that we have, is Daddy Todd coming to the rescue. Because if you follow Todd Bowley and his group, they also own the Los Angeles Dodgers. And if you know anything about the Los Angeles Dodgers, they're an American baseball team. And in baseball, much like football, there is no salary cap. The Dodgers literally just go out and buy all the best players and compete for championships every year. They won the World Series this past year, and instead of being happy with their team, they went out and bought 2 of the best relief pitchers in Major League Baseball. 2 already the best bullpen. And I know some of y'all probably don't understand this terminology, but they didn't, to put it lightly, they weren't complacent. They got better. And with Clear Lake and Igbali and these directions of football, it's not about getting better. It's about money. It's about ego. It's about greed. It's about how much can we buy this player for and how much can we sell this player for. You think that they bought Estevao so that he could be some Chelsea legend. No, they didn't buy Estevao to become a Chelsea legend. They didn't buy Quinde to become a Chelsea legend. They didn't buy Santos to become a Chelsea legend. They didn't buy Enzo Fernandez to become a Chelsea legend. They bought these players because they say, we can make profit off these players. If they become good, we can make a profit off of them. And if you think that they won't sell Estevao in 2 to 3 years, you're a fool. You clearly haven't been paying attention to who we are as Chelsea Football Club. You clearly haven't been paying attention to what we've become, and you're in the denial phase. I skipped the denial phase, and so did Jason. We immediately got on this podcast. We started this podcast when this club was sold. And if you go back and listen to our early episodes, we said that this was coming. This isn't a shock to this podcast. This isn't a shock to our system. This was what we expected. We expected to become a multi-club model that flipped players for profit. When the owners come out and say that they look at Brighton as the gold standard of what they want to be. Brighton is a mid-table club that flips players. It's what they are. Every now and then they'll sneak into the upper six. That's what they'll do. They'll sneak in there every now and then. But it's not, for them, it's not about that. For them, it's about making money and flipping players and making profit. And that's what Chelsea's doing now. We are not going after a Manchester City model or an Arsenal model or a Liverpool model. We are going after the Brighton model. Those are the words out of Igbali's mouth. He has said those words. So this isn't me saying this. This is me parroting what Igbali has said. In this 2-2 draw, whatever, it is what it is. It's just who we are now. And the sooner that this club, the sooner the fans realize that. And I do see it on Twitter now. I see it more than I've ever seen it before. Front of shirt sponsor, not having one for 18 months. It is just shit business. You need profit. We need sustainability. When we have one of the smaller club or smaller stadium sizes in the Premier League, we need as much cash flow coming into the club as possible. And because of greed, because they think the club is worth more than what it is, because we have Champions League football now, we can get more money, and yet here we are. Still no front of the shirt sponsor. You will never convince me that Clear Lake is here to win trophies. I will never be convinced, because everything that they have done points to the exact opposite of them wanting to win trophies. They're not here to win trophies. They can spew that bullshit out of their mouth all they want. They can do as many interviews as they want, spewing that bullshit, and I still will never believe it. Because their actions speak louder than their words. The squad just isn't good enough. It's not good enough to make a run at the title. And when you've had 3 years and you've normally I would side. Hey, it takes time to build stuff up. Yeah, trust the process. But when you've spent over a freaking $1 billion, that you've identified the wrong talent, you haven't brought in experienced players. We're doing it to ourselves, and people don't realize that. But it's the model. It's what the directors of football are instructed to do. It's Igbali's plan. It's his trust the process motto. But here we are. 5th place in the Premier League. Maresca can only do so much with the squad because half the players don't want to be there, I'm convinced. There's about 5 or 6 that actually give a shit. We'll never have a big name player. The most ridiculous thing ever today, reading on Twitter about Vinny Jr. and Madrid offering him to us, or his agents offering him to Chelsea. I'm like, that is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Because Vinny wants ridiculous wages, which is why Madrid are in the situation they're in. And Madrid is willing to pay their players. You know who's not? Chelsea. We don't even want to give anybody over $200K a week, which is fine, and I'm all for balancing the books and having a realistic wage for our players. Like, that's completely normal. But we will never have star players here again as long as that wage structure is in place. Because we're not going to go out and get an Osimhen and pay him $250,000, K a week. It's just not in the model. Don't get your hopes up. That's why we go out and buy a Liam Delop for $30 million, because we can pay him $85, $90. I don't even know what Delop's on. 100, whatever he's on, 100, 120 a week. That's why we go out and buy a Nicholas Jackson. That's why we go out and buy a João Pedro. That's why we go out and buy a Pedro Neto. That's why we buy an Esteval. Because you don't have to pay these players. Their names are just good enough. They're not great. They're good. They're not great. Not going to win you trophies. They're going to let you compete, which is all we want to do. We just don't want to get relegated. That's all we care about. I don't know. We got Man City this weekend. No Casado. Great. Probably get the shit beat out of us. I don't know. The Maresca tends to manage better against bigger teams, with the exception of City. I don't know. I'm just at a loss. I just feel like I get on here and I'm ranting for 20, 30 minutes. I felt like that's what I did last night, and I feel like it gave. But there's no tactical breakdown of this match. It's the same shit. The tale of two halves. We give up the most shots that Bournemouth has ever had in a half of football since the stat has been started being tracked. They had against us in the first half 16 shots that they had against us. Let me go back. I tweeted it out at halftime of this match. Let me go find the tweet. Because I tweeted it out because it was one of the most ridiculous things. I did the math, which crazy. I don't do math. I hate math. And so in the last, I tweeted this at halftime. So if you take the second half of Villa, you take the first half of the Bournemouth match, this team gave up 25 shots and 14 shots on target. In two halves of football, they gave up 25 shots, and 14 of those shots were on target. That's not going to win you anything. I've said from the beginning, I hate Arsenal. I loathe Arsenal. Probably not quite as much as I do Tottenham, but I still loathe Arsenal. But you want to know how you build a club to compete at least? They still have that bottling mentality because they are Arsenal. They don't have a winner's mentality. But they built their club right. They built it from the back to the front. They have arguably two of the best defenders in the Premier League right now when they're healthy. You build it with center backs. You build it with a spine. That's how you win trophies. You don't win trophies with Fofana and Chalobah as your starting center backs. You don't win trophies with Colwell and Fofana. You don't win trophies with Colwell and Chalobah. This is not going to happen. We've needed a star-studded center back for years now, and nobody's done anything about it. I don't know. I don't know what to say at this point. It's just... So I'm saying there's no tactical breakdown. The two goals that they scored were all freaking long throw-ins. Ours were off penalty won by Esteval, and then a great shot by Enzo Fernandez at about the penalty spot. That was all in the first half. But you're not going to win matches giving up that many shots and that many shots on target. It's just not feasible. Mathematically, logically, it's not feasible that you're going to... That's why I praised Sanchez yesterday on the podcast last night. Because Sanchez has literally bailed our asses out this year. I can't believe I'm saying that. Robert frickin' Sanchez, probably the most slandered player on this podcast, has bailed this team out on multiple occasions in multiple matches this season. This is why I love this podcast, is because we're not beholden to anybody. And Jason will too, we both tell you how it is. We give players shit and we give players their flowers. You can't have it both ways, where you're overly positive or you're overly negative. Just call it like you see it. And that's it. Some players have good matches, some players have shit matches. Sanchez, lately, been keeping us afloat. Only reason we drew 2-2 today, because of Sanchez. The only reason we didn't get beat worse by Aston Villa, Sanchez. He's kept us in matches this year. Do I still think we need to upgrade a goalkeeper? Sure. Is Mike Mignon the answer? No. But it's the apathy part of the season where I grow apathetic, where all hope appears to be lost, and then somehow this team will rebound and suck us back in, hopefully. And that's what we've been for the last 3 years. We have literally just been a hope podcast. I hope Chelsea does well. I hope Chelsea finishes in the top 4. I hope Chelsea wins the Conference League. I hope Chelsea does well in the Club World Cup. I hope Chelsea does well in the Champions League this year. On this trajectory, we ain't even finished in a European place this year. We've won 1 of our last 7 matches. Let that sink in. 1 of our last 7. The December Blues are real. They're here. And this match is just a microcosm of what is going on at this club. And it sucks. And you can sit here and rant about whatever you want to rant about. And that's what I've been doing for the past 28 minutes now. So, do what you got to do, fans. Let it out. It is what it is at this point. We're stuck in this perpetual cycle of good, bad, and ugly. And it's just a matter of, where does the wheel stop today? Maybe tomorrow will be a good day. Maybe tomorrow we'll get some good news. Maybe on Sunday we'll get some good news and we'll beat City. But there's going to be more bad days. There's going to be more ugly days. So just keep your blue flag flying. Just keep supporting the club, not the owners. Don't support those bastards. You don't want to support the direction of football. You support the badge. Support the fans that pay their hard-earned money to go to Stamford Bridge and have to sit through this bullshit week in and week out. Just support the badge, man. Players are going to come and go. And I love Esteval. I'm the biggest Esteval stan there is. I've been on the Esteval bandwagon for 2 years now. I've never once called for his minutes to be cut. I've never once said that we need to protect this kid. We need to let this kid play. He needs to be front and center of this club. He is mind-boggling good. But I'm also realistic, and I know in 2 years, 2 to 3 years, he will not be at this club anymore. When Barcelona, they're bankrupt. Never mind. When Madrid comes calling, when a big club comes calling, Man City, Esteval might not want to leave. Because I do feel like he likes Chelsea. I do feel like he likes playing for this club. You can see it in the way he's playing on the pitch. But Chelsea might force his hand. That's why you sign an 18-year-old to an 8-year contract. People are saying, I know he's not going anywhere because he has an 8-year contract. I know exactly that's why he's going somewhere. Because once he turns 21, once he turns 22, and he's fixing to hit that prime of his career, some club's going to come in, offer $200 million, and he's going to go out the door. Do I want that? No. But you also have to be realistic in life. Life ain't butterflies and ice cream. It's bullshit. And you just have to be realistic about that. That you're going to have some good times in life. And you're going to have a hell of a good time if you live your life like you want to. But you know what? You're going to have some shitty times too. There's going to be some shitty things that happen to you. You're going to lose people you love. You're going to have heartbreak and heartache. That girl or that guy's going to leave you. Break your heart. And one day you're going to go to sleep. You're going to dream of sugar plums and fairies. And then you're going to wake up the next morning and your football club isn't the same. And we're in the shitty part of being a Chelsea fan right now. Maybe not the shittiest, because there has been other shitty times in this club. But we are in a shitty part of being a Chelsea fan. And the only thing that we can do is stand by the club, wear the badge, chant her name, sing it from the rooftops. Do what you got to do to support the club, however you see fit. And that's all we can do. Just put our heads down, hope, pray to the VAR gods that we get some more penalties this year. I don't know what else to do. So with that being said, we're on Twitter, Instagram, like, follow, subscribe. Red, White, Blues FC is down there at the bottom of the screen. We're on that on every platform. We're on Substack. Go read some of our articles, follow our stuff over there. We're on YouTube. Like, subscribe, follow there. Get in the comment section. Tell me if I'm right. Tell me if I'm wrong. I don't care. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again in this life. And it is what it is. We're on Spotify, Apple. Listen to us wherever you listen to your podcast at. I'll be back next Monday. Probably still won't have my partner in crime then either. I do think he'll be back the next episode, hopefully. But until then, we'll catch you guys and gals on the flip side.